This is a Nekko Media podcast.
What's your pleasure, sir?
Welcome, cinephiles and Cenobites. Welcome to a new Cinebite, number 43. I'm your host, Annika Pussyfoot. Mox and Ono decided to check out the remake of the original George A. Romero film, Day of the Dead. This one titled Day of the Dead, Bloodline. Let me tell you, this movie looks awesome. But is it awesome? Let's hear what the two had to say about this remake slash revision slash reimagining slash tag configuration.
Alright, welcome to this new slash tag configuration. Today we're going to be talking about the newly released Day of the Dead Bloodline.
Yep.
Directed by Hector Hernandez Vicens. And written by Mark Tonderai, Lars Jacobson. Based on the motion picture Day of the Dead by George A. Romero. So...
Oh God.
Yes,
we watched a bunch of mediocre to crap films before, but I think this is the first movie we've watched for the show that is totally devoid of anything noteworthy.
Yeah. Well, I should point out that the film stars Sophie Skelton, Jonathan Sheck, Jeff Gum, and Marcus Venko. We also have Mark Rhino Smith. He was Alphonse. I've known his work from The Last Ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's pretty indie movie, pretty independent.
Yeah, it's independent of awesomeness.
So it's supposed to be a remake of The Day of the Dead, but it's got a different premise. Instead of like the compound with all the people, it's not like resources are scarce.
No, in fact, they seem to be pretty plentiful. In fact, they have their own growing section where they got like an aquaponic lab.
Yeah. And so this one, they're actually searching or trying to work on maybe some kind of vaccine.
Yeah, preventative, or at least something that can stop the viral spread once you've gotten bitten. Once you've got bitten.
Yeah. So still same zombie rules. You get bit, you're toast. But the effect usually depends on how significant the bite is and where it is. So if you have a bite on the arm.
Did that play in this one? Like that up the timetable, like a neck wound or a shoulder wound versus a bite on the hand?
Zoe pointed it out when that one soldier got bit.
Mm-hmm.
And she mentioned that she got bit on the arm and it takes time for...
Longer.
Yeah.
To travel up the bloodstream.
Yeah. But she is going to turn, but in that time, before she turns, they could have worked on something. And so that was her defense.
Now, what about tourniquet rules? Because that never came up in here, but if you get bit on an extremity, could you sever and stop the spread?
You could have tried that, yeah. I know in the original one they did, right? And that one was when they're cutting that guy's arm off. Woo! Nothing...
Practical,
nothing too gross in this one. But the kill...
Well, yeah, nothing that makes you groan or like, ooh.
Yeah.
There's lots of gore, but it's an empty gore. You know, it's just like flashy blood and ripped apart.
Yeah, it's
viscera.
pretty quick pace.
Yeah.
Whereas in original, they take time showing you
like you
tearing.
feel the goriness in the original. In this one, no.
Yeah.
There's just nothing masterful about it. Plot, story, technique.
We want to point out the beginning, how...
Like, what the fuck was with that, right?
Yes, so we
it's
gotta...
Like pick one or the other, I feel.
We get straight into the breakout, and then they do a 4 hours earlier.
Yeah, 4 hour flashback to show us about 10 minutes worth to just introduce Jonathan Sheck's character and then kill off all of her friends, and then it cuts to the main body of the story 5 years later. We're wondering why they did it in that fashion. Why not open up with the introduction of the main girl and follow it linearly.
You think it was just to open up big?
I think so, but then why did they have to retrace us just to introduce Shek?
Yeah.
I feel that could have been a flashback once we get the story going.
Right, right.
She sees this guy, we flash back. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. When the editor put it together, he just was like, fuck it. Nobody's going to like
Jonathan
this movie.
Shek from that Thing You Do. Yeah.
The
That's why we love
cocky
it.
asshole frontman.
No, he was determined and ambitious.
Well, yeah, to me that equates to cocky.
No, Guy Patterson was just on for the ride. That was it.
But he's the coolest.
But see, and then he ended up starting a new band, and then they actually won awards. So I think it was just about finding the right group to do what he wanted to do, to do that thing he did.
Right.
Right.
He was the most actual, I guess, musician in that.
Right.
But then, the drummer came from jazz, and that's how jazz acts.
Yes.
They're like, detached, like whatever's. Everybody sucks, but my music. I'm only in this for the music.
Sure, yeah.
And the drugs.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, that was a pretty clean movie. But in this one, there's so many not mistakes, but
leaps in rationale.
That and just unnecessary stuff. For example,
unnecessary exposition. There's unnecessary banter that one isn't clever, and two doesn't give us anything that comes into play in the story.
Right, like that. We're gonna spoil this, but that banter in the Humvee.
Yeah.
About different foods.
Like one, we've seen that conversation before in other movies.
And I guess that's to set up the characters, but I mean they end up becoming expendable later. Yeah. Like there's no real attachment
to anybody, even the protagonist, which is the biggest fail of this film. She's not empathetic, and you can't sympathize with her either because she makes so many fucking mistakes.
She does it too much. In fact, where you don't care about her, and I don't think she cares either, because one, she says keep Max alive, no headshots, and then she decides later,
she decapitates him and ends the fucking whole thing.
Right,
and she just randomly decided that she had enough blood to create the serum.
Right, exactly, and at the cost of the entire compound. And in the original Day of the Dead, you hate the military, whereas this one, you're like, no, he was the most rational guy.
And nobody
Miguel
listened to him, but he's just such a terrible actor that I hated him. Anyways, I just hated his face. I hated his shit acting.
I know that.
Even though the words he was doing made sense, but see, he didn't take an active enough role to work against the protagonist, which he should have because he was so right.
Right, and I guess at this point, his character is really minor, and I wonder, would you consider him the antagonist? No,
he's an obstacle at most, but he never actively does anything against the protagonist that she has to overcome.
Right. Okay. So Max would be the antagonist.
I guess so, but he's also a very shitty antagonist. I call him the antagonist just because in the third act, he is who drives it to the climax because he kidnaps that little girl.
My goodness. That's the problem. There's a lot of problems in this movie.
This doesn't have a clear-cut antagonist. The antagonist's goal should be diametrically opposed to the protagonist's goal, and we can't figure out what Max wanted.
Yes, exactly, because his character is the creepy lab rat.
Right, who has something special.
Very special
antibodies
that's
in his
why
blood.
They tolerate him for his blood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like...
Even though he makes super rapey, overt sexual advances, I mean...
And 5 years later, he's still fresh.
Right. They find him at the school when they go back for supplies in the same spot he was left.
And he still has that drive. And it's like...
He just wants to pick right up where we left him 5 years ago, and get to the raping.
Yeah, and there's no real ending game, Well, he is a zombie.
What's his plan? He just wants to rape and...
They call them rotters in this one. Rotters.
Rotters, walkers, draggers, hoppers.
But
why does nobody say zombie in zombie movies? Anyway.
Don't say the Z word. Yeah. And other problems, for this movie, I hyped myself up for this movie because of the trailer and the marketing. Bloody is gonna be most bloodiest vision of Romero's film.
Maybe,
remake.
but I feel like it is an insult to call this, anything of Romero's. I'm not that big a fan of Romero. Like, I'm not from the Church of Romero or anything, but I do feel this is way below his standard of filmmaking. Even though the original was the weakest in the trilogy, this is still a fucking piece of shit compared to it.
Yeah, and I still don't know what the bloodline is referring to. The subtitle.
Maybe his bloodline is what created this. Yeah, but bloodline it connotates some kind of familial bond, a generational familial connection when you hear bloodline, because these talk about dogs and
right. And in the Romero films, there's always a air quotes happy ending, like it's a good one in favor of the survival or whoever's left surviving.
Within the larger context of there are many stories out
there's
there.
a good ending to this story.
Camps are not getting good endings.
This one kind of wants to end the whole zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, and it feels like the main actress doing the voiceover is literally reading, and she's not even reading in character. Her accent is slipping back and forth off the page. I mean, it's just terrible.
That's some harsh. That's a harsh critique.
I mean, you must can hear it. Anyone who played music for a while is a little more sensitive to tonal shifts, and just it's slipping in and out all over the page. I know a lot of people busted Leigh Whannell's balls about his Australian accent kicking back and forth in Saw. This is way less subtle than that.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Leigh Whannell is the master of accents compared to this woman. He's also a way better writer than whoever penned this piece of shit. Like, ugh.
Yeah. But yeah, in this one, the people aren't, it's not like this is the last of the human race. It doesn't feel that way.
The stakes are very low.
Yeah. But they're still making it work. There's order. There's no in the original one,
there aren't competing factions.
Yeah.
Everybody is kind of existing, and they've existed in pretty much peace.
Yeah. And it's not like
years.
you're fearful of the people in charge.
Yeah.
Like in the other one, if you slip up, he's going to kill you right there. Whereas this one, you can rationalize with the one in charge. Just follow the rules. And they give that brother element too in there where...
Well, this new leader, he seems to bark a lot, but is lacking bite. And I feel that's a serious narrative problem.
Sure. Okay. Yes. I see that.
He is too weak to oppose the protagonist, who's also weak herself, but she somehow gets everyone to go along with her plans that keeps on repeatedly causing collateral damage.
Yeah. Yes, repeatedly in a span of we heard this alarm go off twice already. It's like, oh, okay.
The past couple of days,
I'm losing faith in Zoe.
And then she's always shouting out orders, "Don't kill him." It's like, all right, we won't kill him. Oh, a couple more dead because of it. Oh, they've infiltrated because of it. Don't worry, I'll just kill him at the end for no reason.
So, to sum up, Dave the Dead Bloodlines
does not work on any level. No watch, CC.
I'm gonna have to agree with you.
Finally.
No watch, CC. This is a Nekko Media podcast.